Okay. So we are live. So I will share my screen. Bella, everything okay on your side? You can see everything, hear everything?
Yes. Good.
Okay, good, good. All right, so let's look at the agenda. So I should have had up here. There we go. Okay, so talk a little bit about what we did in this past sprint, number 25. And then we've got some demos we need to show you. Some demos have questions associated with them, so we'll stop at the demos and talk about those as they come up. So just in terms of what we've been doing in the past sprint, the past 25, excuse me, sprint 25, past 2 weeks, we've got a lot of stuff here that's all green here, that's finished. Some things we didn't finish, so we pushed off to the next sprint. You see we did a lot. The stuff that's got the accept, reject buttons are the ones we want to show you.
Patrick, maybe you can make that a little bit larger.
Yeah. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's more just to show, Bella, that we've got a lot of stuff that as we've said before, that we work on kind of underneath the hood, foundation stuff that we don't show you. It's the stuff that is visible to the user that we need to show you, and you tell us whether you accept it or reject it. We've got to do more work. So that's essentially what it is. So we've got, I think, 5 demos set up here to show you. So won't belabor anything else here other than just to let you know that we've been doing other things other than what we're showing you. So let me show you one thing, which is the users. I think this is a page that you may not see unless you log in as an admin. You have to log in as an admin to have a users menu here. And if you do, then when you click on it, you see all the users in the system. And all the users could be people who've created an account, but they're not yet members. So we note that here. And this is existing functionality already there. Nothing new here, except for the search thing. I'll talk about that in a minute. But just to orient you, all the users who have an account in the system are shown here. You can click on the profile email, and you can go see information about that particular user. We say when the account was created, the last time logged in. This is all test data, so it all looks the same, but otherwise you'd see variation here. Number of logins they've done since they've been a user. Obviously these are all 0 because they're just fake accounts now. And then the number of open applications. Open means something other than rejected or accepted. Something still pending. So that's what that means. So that's what this page is all about. So that was in the system. What we've added is the ability to do search. So you can search on using a profile email, search against the email. We'll add other fields as time goes on, as they make sense. But you can search that. And then you can specify for my search, I want to see only users who are members, or people who are not members, or all users, regardless of membership. So if I just say, show me are not members, and I just hit search, I'm just going to see all members, all users who are not members. And so let's go back to all users, and let me say, gee, I want to see, for some reason, I want to see everybody in the system who's using a spray.se email address. So I click on that, and I see users regardless of membership, and everything that matches that particular text that I typed in there shows up here. So, I remember I was talking to a person, a member or user last week, and the person's name was something like HEN something. I'm probably going to miss here. Okay, so give me a typical Swedish name, Bella, that I could use. The first name that might result in Maria. Let's just do MAR then. There we go. We got Mariana, Mario, etc. So anyway, you get the idea. Simple search. So that's that. So that's one feature.
And you don't.
Sorry.
And you don't need to use a star before and the end. You just type what you want.
Yeah. As long as exactly, you're right. As long as this text exists within somewhere, we'll find it. So a particularly useless search would be @ because all email addresses have an @ right? So that kind of thing. But you've got it. Yep.
All users, members, and not members is part of that also, right, Patrick? being able to.
Yep. Yeah, I did mention that. Was there something I missed there? So let's
No.
say, okay. Yep. Right, so they work in tandem, to Ashley's point. So it all makes sense. So the idea here is that we'll put that out there as admins start to use this view and they find other things they want to do with searching. I mean, the genesis of this, Bella, if you remember, was there was a request for, I think journalists wanted to get her names of people, women who are members, because they wanted to write story about the association and talk to at least one woman, because there seemed to be a lot of men showing up.
The other way around.
It was the other way around.
Yeah.
A lot of get a man instead of one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm not sure this actually fulfills that, but it's a start. And we could add first name, last name, things like that, if it turns out to be useful to make the search more useful. So that's that. So I think at this point, I have another demo here, but I think I want to come back to that because we have some other things we need to talk about. So the next demo, a couple of demos are from Susanna. Susanna, do you want to share your screen and show those? So let me just give you the entree to it. So Bella, membership numbers which you now enter manually are going to be created automatically. So we'll just take the next number. If the last number was 111, the next member gets 112 as their membership number. So we just peel off the number. We also show the membership number on one of the views, which is the list of membership applications. And so we want to know, and we think the answer is yes, we should show the membership number on other members-oriented views. And Susanna will talk to you about that. So let me, Susanna will show you something and we'll all talk to it.
Well, I did create a new member and sent in an application in that new member's name. And yes, I start the review and it all looks awesome, so I approve it. And then it got a membership number automatically.
Whereas before, yeah, you had.
And then I can change it if needed.
That's nice.
And before we had to enter the number manually before saving. So yes, it makes things much easier.
And there's no chance of duplicating the same membership number too.
But here, I don't know where the list,
users.
where it's listed.
It's under the applications under administering to
No,
manage applications.
Or
maybe it's not merged.
Maybe it's not merged, so it's not up on Heroku. So look at that. Let me see. Is that merged? It's not merged yet. So can you show it locally?
That would take a while.
Okay, let me show it then. Let me go back to that. So I will stop presenting from Susanna. Bear with us, Bella, just a little bit mid-course correction here. We've got about 3 different versions of the app running, depending upon local machine versus the staging environment versus production versus you name it, right? So, okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to show it because I have to be running on Robert's branch. Let me see if I get lucky here. No, I'm not. Okay.
how about it? I can demo mine while you work on that, Patrick, or.
Actually, if you don't mind, let me just do this real quickly.
But Ashley, maybe you can explain to me, why do we want to export files at CSV files?
That's for me, so that I can send emails and make membership cards and things like that.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, so that was right. So that's how Susanna or any other administrator can get information out of the system easily. And like she said, that the first need or the main need was so that she could do mailings. And so that, yeah, extracts, like you said, the user information, their name and their address and such.
Yeah, I always do that in Excel, so I was just...
Well, it is an Excel file. You can open it in Excel.
Yeah, so that can open it in whatever spreadsheet.
So here is the view that we're trying to show you. We haven't merged it into production yet, Bella, because it's something that we wanted to show you. We have some questions about it.
Yeah.
We don't want to merge it into production until we resolve those questions. So here, I don't think we have a question about this, but just this is the first view that shows membership number. This is the applications view, obviously.
I think the title is way too long. We should just have like the sign for number or something there.
Right.
Yeah, this is taking up a lot of space. So here we're just showing a member number, and you can't sort, you can't search on member number, and you can't sort. So here I can sort on everything else.
Yes, but if you show all, then you can at least sort by Control F, Command F.
Well, that's not sorting though, right?
Search, I mean.
Yeah. So we'll add just simple sort at least. We could probably put a search up in the search form as well, if you care about searching for membership number. And somebody calls you and says, hey, my membership number is 128, there's something going on, whatever. So that's that. So that's going to go in. We don't have a question about that. So two questions. One is, and this is something that maybe Susanna more than you, Bella, really has to tell us. One is, do we put membership number on this view for those users who are members? Is that a useful thing? I don't know. So there's that question. Question number two is, if I look at the details on any particular member, we're not showing membership number here. And we probably should. So those are just two questions. You may not have an opinion on it, Bella, because I don't think you manage these particular views. But just so you know.
We're not showing the user's name either. And the name has moved to user. We
aren't. So I think the intent at some point is to make this first and last name, because we already show the email down here. This is actually just duplicative. So we should make a story for that, actually.
Yes.
I remember seeing that, but I don't know if I created a story.
I'm noting it.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's kind of an FYI to you, Bella. Okay, then we've got a couple of things set up here for demoing. Should I continue, Ashley, or do you want to go into emails at this point?
Doesn't matter.
Actually, why don't we do emails? So we may have more discussion on mailing address, so probably should do emails first then.
Okay.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah. Okay, so what we have set up now is that the system can send out emails. And so the first user story that we did when we want to send out emails is, if as a user I need to change my password. So say here I am at the system, and sorry, if I'm a user and I've forgotten my password. So this will take a minute for my system to spin up. Let me see if I can make this a little faster. Okay, so here I am, and I'm going to log in, and I realize, oh, I forgot my password. So I can now go to this page and say, here's my email address that I used, and send me an email so that I can reset it. And say, okay. Email sent. So now if I go look at my emails,
2,900.
Yeah. So here's the email that I just got. And let me load images. Ta-da, here it is. So this is what it looks like. And I think Susanna showed this before, what we wanted it to look like. And sure enough, if I click on this link to reset it, it will take me back to the system, which is also on my machine right now. And it says, great, enter your new password and make sure you tell me what your old password was and we'll reset it.
No, say new password twice.
Oh, okay, well, right, it's assumed that I've gotten this. So, although my system's running a little slow. So the point is that we have the foundation work in there so that now the SHF system can send out emails. And this is the first story, the first reason why we wanted to send out an email so the user can reset their password. So other emails that will be sent out are, for example, when somebody submits an application, then we'll send them an acknowledgement to let them know, thanks, we've received your application and now we're working on it. Another story where we would want to send out an email would be to send an email out to the membership chair to say, hey, a new application has come in, be sure you go look at it. So that's, okay, finally my system has come back. So, and it says, great, I updated my password. So that's it. It's about sending out emails, setting up the foundation so that our system can do that, and the basic look and feel of emails. So.
Yes, automated process with nice setup. I just love it. It's so nice.
Yeah, and I think that for any organization, you know, anytime you can have contact with them and let them know what's going on, it helps to make people feel more connected.
Maybe you said this actually, and maybe it's just obvious to Bella, but actually took great pains to make it look like MailChimp email, so it looks the same, since members are used to getting email from MailChimp, so it all melds well together.
Yes.
Really nice work.
So that's where we are on that. So moving forward, we can, you know, change how this looks or change the wording. So things like this, what shows up here in the footer will be common, you know, to all emails and this kind of stuff too. So hopefully that's good. And I love this picture. I just have to say. So.
It's an awesome picture.
Yeah. And the picture and the text and every layout, it's so professional. Oh.
Good. Well, that, like Patrick said, I just took from the MailChimp, and I don't know, Susanna, if you had set that up or whatever, but it's looking good.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
In December, you remember, when we did everything.
And actually, if the user, if they have their email set up so that they don't want to see things in HTML, well, they'll see the simple plain text version of it.
Nice, well done.
Yeah, and that, so people may want to do that. So we make sure that we have a plain text version with all the right information and a beautiful HTML version also. So hopefully going forward now, getting the other emails out will be pretty quick. I think the largest or the longest time thing with that will be making sure we have the content of the email, the writing, as we want it and saying the right things. So, okay.
There is one word too many in the very last line.
In this line?
No, the very last line. Yeah.
Okay, well that's...
The last words are, you are off member.
So this...
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good feedback.
And I don't know why the Sverigesundföretagare are capitals.
Here?
No, down there.
Oh, just to pull it out, but yeah, we can have that whatever. Okay, I'll make
It can be capitals.
It can be. I just...
Yeah.
Okay. It can be capitals.
Yeah, and if you know, if somebody really, like I said, now that this these pieces are in there, changing this kind of stuff is really straightforward. It's actually just text that we pull from a file, so we don't have to do any programming change. We really just say, you know, whatever words you want in here, boom, we'll put them in. So it's easy to change the words. Okay, so I've noted that. I'll change this in the footer.
All right.
Great. So that's what I have.
Okay, cool.
Stop sharing, and Patrick, you can do whatever magic you need to do to stop me from presenting.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. So, so one more demo for you, Bella, and this relates to company addresses. So as you know, we've been limiting company, or you may not be aware of this, but you probably aren't. We've been limiting companies to having one address so that we can show at least a location on a map for the company. And so what we've done now is we've expanded that to allow a company to have multiple addresses, as many as they want, actually. And one of them should be the mailing address. That's one of the business rules that we understand at the organization, that you need a mailing address for postal mail, physical mail to go to. And so we kind of meld the ability to have multiple addresses and marking one as the mailing address together into one feature, if you will, one set of functionality. So we have some questions about how that should work, but let me just show you show this on my local machine. Let me show you what it looks like before we go into our questions. So let's say, is that big enough? Can everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Public can see that? Okay. So I'm going to look at this company here. This company has 4 addresses. So the company person is set up for, they set visibility levels. If you remember, we can set visibility down to the street level or only show the city that the address is in, postal code, etc., or don't show it at all. Just a reminder, when you set visibility to none, it doesn't show up on the map to the visitor. And so here, there's 4 addresses, but only 3 are showing on the map. The intent is to show the company administrator, whomever owns this company, what the map will look like for a visitor. So the visitor for this, looking at this company, will see these 3 addresses. They won't see this one. The other thing you'll notice is we've set one as mail. So these are radio boxes, so you can change your mail address to anything you want. I'm going to go back to this. So presumably I have a mailing address that's my home address. I don't want it to be shown on a map because it's not where I do business. And I want postal mail to go to my home. So that's the idea behind this approach. Also, you can add an address. So I could add a 5th address if I wanted. So I go here and I could add another address. I could also click on any one of these and go and edit the address. So if I go here and I decide I don't need this address anymore, I can also delete this address once I confirm that that's what I want to do. So that's what's going on there. So for a company, when a visitor looks at the page for a company, they're going to see all visible addresses that the company has set up. And on the main page for all companies, that map that shows all of the dots for all the locations for all the companies, that will show all the addresses for each company on that map. So it might get a little busy, but that's how it works. So I guess the couple of questions we have is about mail address. So well, actually, let me show you one more thing before we get into that.
And then before we get into the questions, Patrick, maybe you could pause and make sure that makes sense to Bella.
Oh, that would actually make a great deal of sense, but I don't do that. Bella, does that all make sense? Did I talk? I'm talking fast, but
no, it's talk you. I understand everything, and it makes sense.
Good.
Okay, perfect. So here I've got a company with one address. I'm going to go and I'm going to delete that address. So I'm going to show you another aspect of this feature. That's why I'm deleting this. So now I have no address here. So as a company administrator or whatever, I'm going to add some address here and just make up some stuff. It's not going to show up on the map because I'm making up nonsense location here, right? But I'm going to go ahead and submit. And you see here, there's nothing that says mail address here. But when I go back, I submit. I'm going to go back and look at the view of the company. There's the address. We geolocated it as best we could, probably down to just Sweden, in the middle of Sweden or something. But you see what happened here. If you have no addresses and you add an address, your first address, it's marked by default as the mail address because we need a mail address. We want a mail address. So that's one of the behaviors that we want to make you aware of, because we do need a mail address. So we go ahead. Also, I think I went too fast, but at the top here, when we came back to this view, there was a message up here that says, address created successfully, and in parentheses it says, this address is now your default mail address. So the user's aware of it if they look at that flash message at the top. So that's how it all works. So questions here. Let me go back to, I guess, which one do I want to work on here? Let me go back to this company here. So I've got a bunch of addresses, and I've got this one set to my mailing address. If I go and I delete that address, go back to the company.
The one above got selected.
The one above got selected, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Why did that work that way? Well, anyway, if I delete my mail address, Bella, when I come back here, there's possibly I don't have any address selected as mail.
Right, what should
I think I may be doing something there. Yeah. And so one of the things we're wondering, should we stop and say you can't delete your mail address unless you've selected another address to be your mail address?
But will it select none? I think it will select one.
Well, so, right, the question is what should happen here? So I have this address, it's my mailing address, and I delete it.
So I think I set up that incorrectly. So Bella, my mailing address was there. I deleted it. Now I come back and there's no mail address because I deleted the one that was marked as mail. So the intent here initially was we don't want the force to user to not be able to do something and force a mailing address to be marked, or do it for the person. Just assume one of the other addresses is the mail address. And we want to leave it, well, the initial thought was to leave it to the user when they see a situation, when they come back to this and says, oh yeah, that's my mail address. So we don't automatically stop them from deleting the mail address, and we don't automatically select the remaining address through some logic to be the mail address if they delete the existing mail address. So I guess the question comes down to, is that okay, that behavior, which we leave it up to the user to manage their mail address, or we force things by preventing the user from deleting the mail address if it's the only address they have, or if they haven't selected another address amongst the ones that they do have. So if I select mail here,
I'm for forcing.
For forcing? Well, I want to make sure that Bella understands what we're asking. Did that all make sense, Bella?
It all makes sense, even if you, yeah, it's quite a lot. But yes, I believe it's okay that the system uses some other address, since the user can and have a good view and can make other choice. But at the same time, it's good that if the system does something, because users can miss it, or internet goes down or something. So yes, as it happened now when you took the poster address away, it choose the one above. That's works for me.
Of course, right now it doesn't work that way. So
Okay.
That was an accident.
Sorry.
The point is,
yeah, the way this works, let me just do this again. So we have, just confirm, let me reload. Yeah, we're at the street level. So we have this address as our postal address. I'm going to go delete that. And my intent is to go back and select another one for my address, but I'm not going to see it automatically happen. So we come back here, and I've got my one remaining address, and oh yeah, I got to mark that as my mail address. So
I don't think we can trust the users to do that.
yeah, it sounds like both Susannas are in agreement in that if you delete your mail address, this in some way, and I have a suggestion about how to change the interaction, but in some way the system is going to force you to always have an email address, either by selecting one for you, or you can't delete one until you've chosen an alternative.
Yes.
Yep, that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
So in this case, what would happen, I would go, this is my sole address. I would go click on this. I would not actually even see this button. This button wouldn't be available because I can't delete it.
So I would say that you need to explain, you need to give information to the user about why they can't delete it. So either if you go back to that address, if you click on that address again, Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
So if that delete button is not available, then you need to explain to the user, either have text there that says you can't delete this because something. Or if they click on that delete button, then they get a message that pops up that says, you can't delete this because it's written in the address and we need a mailing address or whatever it is.
Yeah, so that all makes sense. So do you ever have anybody who doesn't want to give you a postal address? So here, this situation, I can, if I don't want to give you a second address and make that my mail address, this is my sole address, I can never delete this address. And do you ever have a member who might say, well, I don't really want my address in your system. I don't care about the map, etc.
Well, they can set the visibility to none.
They can, but they're worried about their address being in our database. I'm making up a weird contrived situation, right? But
right. So if they don't want to get any mail from SHF, any postal mail, is that okay?
From a point of view of a user, this address here,
I understand.
I cannot delete it. You're preventing me from deleting the one address, and I don't want any address in the system. So that's one of the reasons why I erred on.
But I mean, you could change it to something that is not your address.
But that's not, yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense.
And then you guys are going to be sending email to someplace in northern
I understand.
Norway or something.
Right.
Yeah, so that's, I think there are
Right.
situations where that could frustrate a user, to be honest. But I can do it in the way that we're talking about here. It's certainly doable. But I just hesitate to be that intrusive on the user's actions and thoughts.
So maybe if they try to delete this address, it's the only one and it's their mailing, address, then we can let them do it. But first they have to get a warning that pops up and they have to explicitly confirm that says, yes.
Nobody reads those anyway.
Well, I don't know about that, but we do have them at least make sure they want to delete an address, they didn't hit it by mistake.
So we could make that information, more complete, saying, if you delete this address, we can't send any postal mail to you, blah, blah, blah. Are you really sure? Would that handle that situation okay?
And if you change the text like that, the system would not choose the address. It will be blank.
Right, and in this particular example, there's no other address. This is their only mail address, their only postal.
Right.
It feels quite extreme that they shouldn't want to give the address, to be
Right.
honest.
So here's what I
Have
think.
you come up with that sometime that some...
Once in a system of 24,000 people.
Yeah. Because this is still companies quite often, and in Sweden all that information is public, so you don't have any choice to not to be visible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, if it was private people, private personal space, then maybe, but yes, Bella is correct. This is companies, so we can force them.
Okay. I can't find one of the two addresses. Okay. All right. So, all right.
Okay, so what I just wrote down, just to make sure that I have gotten that correctly, is that for a company, we're going to force them to have at least one address, and that will be marked as their mailing, their postal address. They can't delete it. But for a person, for a user, when we get to the point of tracking addresses for them, a user may choose to not have a postal mailing address in the system.
Yeah. So we're not talking users now, of course, but
Right. So I just want to ask that Susanna's, is that correct? Companies, we're going to force them to always have at least a mailing, a postal address. They can't delete it.
I'm for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I would qualify that. I think when a company is first created, right now there's nothing that says.
No, because when a company is first created, all we have is the organization number. So if we change that to a force in the system, then they have to add the company address also in the membership application.
Yeah, we don't want that. So when the company is first created, the new company person is presented with this view of their company, and there won't be any table here. There will just be this button, add address.
Yes.
And so they click, they add their, everybody wants their company to appear on the map. Let's hope. And then when they come back and they add the address, we will automatically have marked it as your mail address, and we'll tell them at the top, thanks for the address, great. If it's successful, that's your mail address now. And they can add a second, third, et cetera, if they want.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's makes sense from a user point of view.
Good.
I believe it's really nice that you can add several addresses now. It's good. So I will do that on my company.
Yes.
Oh, good. Good.
This is what we have to send a newsletter about.
Yeah.
Or should send a newsletter about, because there are many people who want partly show different places for their company on the map and also have a different mail address.
Yeah. So also, Bill, just looking ahead, once we get billing in place, we may end up adding a billing address type as well, which would show up here. And you'd mark one of your addresses as this is my billing address. We're not sure if we're going to have a billing address in this system or if we only do that on the HIPS side. HIPS is the payment processor people, if you remember. So
yes,
we would expand this capability to include billing address if if we need to. But anyway, just so you know. Okay, I think we've got it now. So we've got to do a little bit more work on this particular story then, as a result. Or, let me propose something. Would it be okay to put it in the system the way it exists now and add the capabilities we're talking about regarding enforcing mailing address as a subsequent addition to this capability?
So, Patrick, you're saying, so we allow them to have multiple addresses, but we don't do anything about checking if they delete one, that's their mail address?
What I'm saying, yes. So we put it in the way it exists now, and then during this current sprint, we add the restrictions on mail address that we've been talking about here. Or do you want to hold off until we've added the restrictions to put it in?
No, I want to push it now.
So if somebody enters stuff and they don't mark one with a mail address, then we have to go back and do what? Pick one for them?
Well, first of all, just so people are aware, and Bella and Suzanne, I know you know this, every company pretty much has an address because they had to when they created the company. When we put this feature in the production, all of those addresses get marked as mail as part of moving this functionality into production. So every company will have a mail address if they have any address at all, and I think all of the companies have one email address, one mail address.
No, but most.
Most, well, maybe some of the legacy don't, but so that's everybody will have a mail address. When you send out your communication, you'll tell people, of course, your prior address for your map is also your default mail address. If you want to change this, go add a second address or whatever to your company. But anyway, you will have mail address in there.
Yes, and what you're meaning that you do the adjustment in next sprint, then we are talking about the 2 weeks of window. Exactly. Yeah, and I believe it's going to take us 2 weeks before we get the newsletter out. So I don't see any large risk here.
Okay. All right, good.
What did you say about the newsletter? I missed that.
Wait, wouldn't it going to be taking us at least 2 weeks before we can send it?
I was gonna send it like today.
Oh, you're
Just
so
like,
fast.
yo, they look at this cool function of the system. The next newsletter that Caro is writing will be sent later. That was my idea anyway, but we can wait.
Well, that's maybe something you guys could deliberate on. We don't need to be involved, but
I did have a question for you, Susanna. You said that in the current system, with the current data, there are some companies without an address?
Yes. People with approved membership applications that hasn't gone in and added their address for their company yet.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
yeah, in the current system, they have those fields are marked as required, but we don't validate. So we still accept.
Okay.
I still think you're going to be in a position where once a quarter or something, you want to go through the database and identify all companies without any address and email people as a reminder, please enter at least your mail address, because of those legacy companies in any case.
Sounds like a story.
That's true. Okay, so what we're going to do is put this feature into production probably Thursday, right, when we have our team meeting. And we'll add the restriction on mail address as part of this sprint we're in right now. Okay, I think we're good on that then. Okay, so work in process plan for next sprint. I think we can skip that because this meeting's going on longer than we intended. Other than to say we've got plans for this sprint we're working on, Bella, and we'll probably have some more demos for you next meeting. Okay, so questions for client. Okay, now we're getting into the addresses for people. So I guess we have some questions relating to member addresses. Now we're switching from company to member. And first of all, we want to know, do you actually track addresses for individuals in addition to company addresses, Bella, in your spreadsheet system or whatever side system you've got there?
To be honest, I don't have any side system.
Oh, good.
I don't think I have one either.
All right.
Well, I do. We do have the old system, but it's the same info there as we have in the new system.
Do you guys think we're going to need a mailing address for members as distinct from company, or maybe not, or to be determined?
I think it's only possibly important for those companies who consists of more than one person who is a member.
Yeah, I see.
And they aren't that many yet. So for the future.
So it's not a
for the
burning need,
future,
right?
after payments and after classes and stuff.
So,
Okay.
so if a company has 5 employees and all of them are members of SHF,
Yes.
then you would want to, maybe some of them would want to have the newsletter sent to their home instead of the company address. And so they would want their own mailing address.
Welcome package is what they get.
Welcome package.
Yes, maybe. That's the only scenario I can think of.
Okay. So I'm noting this, and this is good. So keep thinking about, might there be other scenarios?
But on the other hand, they do work at the company, so they can pick up that package there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's not an urgent need right now to worry about mailing address.
2019 somewhere.
Well, I think the other one that might pop up is once we worry about how we're going to collect the fee for the membership, we may need billing address in our system or not. And again, it depends on how the system works. We may just end up having billing address entered by the member on the HIP system, and we never see it, which would be okay too. So the questions there to be resolved. Okay, so new issues discovered. What do we got here? Admin needed to change users. Whose issue is this? Who can speak to these things here?
That was me. I was supposed to write user stories for that.
Right. So I put one into Pivotal Tracker for that just a little while ago. So when we talked yesterday, Susanna said that these situations had come up. And so these are user stories we need to support. So I put that in Pivotal Tracker.
Oh, okay, there's enough for Bella then. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Good enough. Bella, I think that's it. Is there anything else that's occurred to you in the last 2 weeks that we need to talk about, or things you've been thinking about?
No, I went to the mainly homepage, and we have there this brochure, and in the past when I tried to print it out, it's looked very strange, but this time it worked very well. But
and that's not part of our system.
No, I know, but that's what I had on my mind.
But you shouldn't print it from there. You should order them from me.
Yes, but I wanted to add it in our application about the Stora Stockholm.
Yeah, okay then. That's a valid excuse.
Yeah. So no, I have no other thoughts, but I really like what I have seen today. Really nice work from you, everybody.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we reached another point where a bunch of things came together. And so now there's a lot of work to see.
Yeah. So I guess the remaining thing Bella, is to just confirm the time of our next meeting. So 2 weeks from now is the 17th, I guess. Is that time good for you?
Just
Tuesday,
a minute.
October 17th?
Seventeen,
One
17,
moment.
17.
Yes. Sorry to say that doesn't work for me. I'm home at 9:30.
Well, later or another day.
Another day.
You could also
Could
maybe
you-
do it earlier if that's late for you.
Oh no, that doesn't work either. Could you Wednesday the 18th?
Yeah, I think so. What do you guys think?
Works for me.
Same
Susanna?
time?
Mm-hmm. Means yes.
17th. This time okay still?
Yes.
Okay, great. Perfect. All right, then we'll book it.
Yes, and I will send you an email so you get the correct address. Or can I send you all?
I think we've got it. Susanna.
Yahoo. I think
Ett ord.
this one now? Is that right? Susanna Lundgren at yahoo.se.
Yes, that's correct.
Lundgren, did I say that correctly?
Lundgren. There is lots.
Lundgren?
Brilliant.
I'm going to mangle it. I just, you have to.
Progress.
Okay there.
Good progress.
Yeah. I'll keep working at it. All right, Bella, we should let you go. Thank you for.
Yeah, it was nice to. Thank you, the same.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Good evening. Bye now.
Yeah, that's a Swedish saying we have. We say, thank you the same.
And
Thank you the same.
Instead of two people saying thank you, the other one replies, thank you the same.
Oh, okay.
So how do you say it in Swedish? Can you type it in the chat just so I can see the words? And then label them?
Tack detsamma.
Okay. Tack detsamma.
Tack detsamma.
Okay.
That's the same. That means the same,
Yeah.
huh?
But since it's one thing, it's one word. Or maybe it's two words, really, I don't know.
The same.
But it's better to put two words together than to separate them in Swedish.
Yeah, and in German too. I love that about German. They'll just keep compound words. But if you separate them out, it's very, very clear what the meaning is. They just...
Let's see, English translation. Thanks, comma, you too.
Oh. So it actually is saying thanks also.
Yeah, talk is thanks.
As opposed to the same. If I say thank you and you say the same, is that typical?
No.
Mm.
Okay, let's go back to SHF project. Since we're live and everything.
Yes. Okay, so emails. Oh,
I'm going to stop broadcasting unless you guys want to continue.